Yeah, no, I think ours will get away with what they can, and the Democrats will pearl clutch. So what I would tell the Democrats is stop pearl clutching and get an economic message and go beat them because the economic lever is 10 times better than the redistricting lever as far as impact. If you can win the
Absolutely.
economic lever, I don't care about the redistricting. You're going to win the House.
The Texas legislature meets with legendary infrequency, but now the governor, Greg Abbott, has
Yeah.
summoned them back to a special section to redistrict. And to quote Trump, there could be other states where we're going to get another 3, 4, or 5 in addition. Texas would be the biggest one. Redistricting after changing voter regulations to try to scrape voters off the voter rolls, requiring voter ID, and now in Texas and perhaps in other states to follow suit, redistricting in order to create more Republican districts ahead of the midterms. Mike, is this going to work?
Well, they might squeeze a few. It's kind of funny because I don't get quite as outraged at this just generically because I used to live in a district that was only contiguous at low tide that the Dems drew. This was kind of the Peck's bad boy hobby of both parties. But the Republicans know in the House they're in trouble, and they could very well lose the House. So one, if you're an incumbent member looking like you're going to retire, they come see you and say, we're going to staple you to your desk. We can't lose the seat. Now, that's just happened with Mike Lauer in New York, who was looking at running for governor. But if the polls get bad in Q1 or even at the end of the year, you're going to see a lot of Republicans in the House retire because nobody wants to be in the congressional minority. I think at the margins, they can get a couple. And again, the Democrats in New York tried last time and they got all jammed up. So, both sides try to get away with what they can, but the way the population is moving, here's something, and I know Paul knows this. When you look at the general election electorate, there are about 3,300 counties in America, 3,400. All the Democratic vote comes out of 600 of them. So, the congressional stuff, there's a little bit, particularly in the Senate, less than in the Congress, but there's a
Yeah,
little
we're
tailwind
trapped.
for the arms. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they're going to exploit that and try to grab and steal every seat they can because they know they're in a corner and a bad one.
Well, as the saying goes, dirt don't vote. You may have an immense county with a very small population versus a county like Los Angeles, which is large, but proportionally the population
Yeah,
is
but
immense.
Dirt won some key states and got Donald Trump elected with
Yeah.
a plurality of the vote this time in 2024.
So one question about this redistricting thing is the Supreme Court has kind of gone back and forth on this. It's knocked down some redistricting attempts as a blatant attempt at racially isolating and sidelining, and others it seemed to have they're okay with it. What would these like last minute, as far as elections are concerned, some of these last minute redistrictions, how would they fare in the courts? First, maybe from Paul.
I hate to be a reader of tea leaves. I also hate to say that anything depends on Brett Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett, which seems to be often the case these days. It's hard, Pat. If my skepticism says if they believe that that is really what the boss wants, the person who put them there, I get nervous. On the other hand, you would hope that the later it gets, the wilder it gets, the more egregious it gets, that the Supreme Court could exert some control here. But I'm not confident. I don't know, Mike, if you feel any differently. I'm not confident.
Yeah. No, I think ours will get away with what they can, and the Democrats will pearl clutch. So what I would tell the Democrats is stop pearl clutching and get an economic message and go beat them because the economic lever is 10 times better than the redistricting lever as far as impact. If you can win the
Absolutely.
economic lever, I don't care about the redistricting. You're going to win the House. And the Senate could be closer. The Senate is a very good Republican map, but the Democrats have been very lucky. Governor Kemp, popular Republican governor of Georgia, who hates
Right.
Trump and Trump hates him, decided not to run for Senate. So the Democrats are in the hunt there. We may have our entertainment prayers answer, and Laura Trump, daughter-in-law, may run, and he can probably clear the primary for her, though I'd be surprised if he really wants to, in North Carolina. And if the former governor there is a kind of a Tory Democrat, very old school that way, he would be a very powerful candidate in the Tillis seat, the Republican who had it and pulled the plug. So the Senate long shot formula is looking better.
Hmm.
although deep down, Florida or Texas are always the bugaboos, and
Yeah.
we probably can't ever get at least this time, we can't ever have a chance of winning back the Senate unless we win one of them. And we have to hold a number of seats on our side that are all fairly narrow as well, which has been done before, by the way. I should quickly add, there have been plenty of elections that have been lined up where there's a Democrat, bare advantage, or even slight Republican advantage, and yet Democrats have succeeded. But Mike's right. There's an opportunity perhaps to narrow. I am long shot is the right word in terms of flipping the Senate entirely.
Next week, I'll be talking to Bill Kristol, who's editor of The Bulwark, and also Never Trumper, about the state of democracy, the state of the nation, and where Republicans and people like him, and in fact, all Americans, can take their anger, their concerns, and their hopes in this upcoming midterm and in the years to come. Thank you for joining us. You can see more information on the website. We appreciate your support. We appreciate your viewership. I'm Pat Morrison. Good night.